Hello everyone, Courtney here. Hopefully if you are pitching a product, you know your product well, such as being able to state your one-sentence benefit statement off the top of your head. Now, if you can't do that, learn that first. But let's assume you've got that down. But what about your consumer base? Your most likely audience who would buy your product? How well do you know that? Today is all about your end consumers and how it impacts your hit list so you can create a hit list out of this world. Welcome to episode number 51. Let's get into it.
Where inventing, passion, and hard work intersect. Welcome to the Serial Inventing Podcast. Bite-sized, perspective-altering episodes on serial inventing and beyond. From motivating key tips on product licensing to obstacle-busting conversations on transitioning to a full-time serial product developer. Buckle your seatbelt because you're in for a ride. Warning, this podcast may motivate you to make wild decisions that will propel you forward in your inventing career and hijack more of your time for your passion. If you aren't ready to make it happen, then this podcast isn't for you.
When you are learning the 10 steps of licensing, it's very easy to create too general and too specific of a hit list. How far do you go into other categories, and how much of a fit does the company need to be to gain a spot on your hit list? I have students easily swing far too small for 5 companies on their list, and also the opposite at 200 plus companies. Finding that beginning 20 to 30 companies middle ground can be hard. But once you start to gain those skills and become a seasoned inventor, pitching multiple products, then you start to spend more time really honing in on what makes a good hit list. And if you are at least on your second product and have been pitching your first one for over 6 months, then it's time to start doing this. And what exactly is this? Well, it's getting a deeper understanding of your consumer base. Your success of pitching is really tied to the success of your hit list and how good it is. And how good it is should be based on who your end consumers are, since, after all, the company wants to pay you a royalty and hopes to have their audience buy your product so they can make money. If we can work backwards and see who would buy our product, then we can figure out what companies already have that audience built in. How? Because that company should be selling similar items to ours, or rather, to our consumer base. So how do we work backwards then? It all starts with one thing: getting to know who would buy your product. Now, there is one thing I will leave out of this episode, and that is what category to go into. Because this first starts with a brainstorming session, and I go over that in episode 37, called The Categories Challenge. Take a listen to that one so you have an idea of a variety of categories to look into that you will write down so you can figure out which category would benefit from your product the most. For this podcast, I will assume that you've already figured out what that category is. Now, we will talk about a 5-letter acronym I created called CASAR. C-A-S-A-R. Which interestingly means Mary in Spanish. Maybe it's the recipe for hit list success. Grab your phone and start writing down some notes, as this will impact the way you build or even rebuild your hit list. I would recommend creating your answers in the order of the acronym to get the best results. CASAR stands for category, audience, similar, application, retailers. Let me dissect them a bit. For our example here, let's say we have created a unique suction cup container that acts as both a baby food bowl and a storage container for the fridge. We'll call it the Baby Bites Keeper. C in CASAR is for category, and we just went over that. So for this product, it could be in a bunch of categories, such as kitchenwares or container companies in all industries, of course, companies that sell mealtime baby products, or maybe even baby food companies. Let's say we decided that mealtime baby products is the best category. So companies like Skip Hop and Little Wonder & Co. would fit the category we chose. Great. A is for audience. And there are two parts to this. First, we need to think about what is the best audience for this product. Can we niche it down to be smaller than just parents looking for new bowls? Put yourself in their shoes, play the role, and talk it out. You have a baby who eats in small bites and doesn't finish their food. You don't want to throw it away, but also storage is tight in the fridge, and it takes more work to empty it out of a bowl and place it in another container that has a lid and into the fridge. So, are these babies at a certain age? What age? Are these babies who struggle with something such as sensory food aversion? Is this a mom with a small fridge or a large family where space is limited? Who would buy this product most likely, the mom or dad? It can't be the baby, even though they are using the product. Remember, we are talking about what is the absolute best audience to benefit from our number one benefit of our product, not the largest, the closest fit. Once we hone in on that, then we want to think about where they would consider buying such a product, when they feel motivated to solve the problem, or where they may find it if out and about and it would catch their attention, such as going online to search for it or walking the aisles of a store in their category, and that product catches their attention, solving their problem, even if they're looking for something else. And that is the second part. The goal is to write this into a sentence. So for the Baby Bites keeper, maybe it is this: Moms walking the baby aisle looking for mealtime products for her baby aged between 4 to 9 months old. Now let's move on to S, which stands for similar products. Now that you have your consumer, your audience in mind, start to think about what a company would already be selling that is similar to yours and is in the same category. If this is hard to think about, here's another way to consider looking at it. If your product was selling online or in a store, what other types of products would the consumer see next to your product? What other products would surround your product on a store shelf? Remember to think about the sentence you just wrote down. So for our Baby Bites keeper example, let's say that what would be both next to my product on a store shelf and what a company would sell that would be similar to mine are silicone plates, bowls, and utensils. Same category, different problem being solved, same material, but most importantly, same consumer base that we just figured out in letter A. And now for the next A in CASAR, application. Hopefully this one will be a bit easier to do as we hone back into your product. What you want to clearly describe is what you believe will be the most common use of your product. Some products have multiple benefits and uses, while others are quite simple. For the Baby Bites keeper, it's simple: using it as a bowl for baby to eat from and storing it with its lid in the fridge when done. And if your product also has one application, I would consider brainstorming or merely looking at your other categories from the Categories Challenge to understand other applications and ways your product could be used. So you have that information written down, as you may one day go into those categories. And now for our very last one. R is for retailers. What retailers could you see your product selling in? You already decided, based on what you wrote for your audience, if it will be searched for online or in a store aisle. And you already decided what similar products there would be on a store shelf or what a company would sell that's similar to yours. So the last piece of the puzzle is, where exactly would your audience go? And the most important aspect of this is big box general retailers or specialty stores. Would they go to Target, which has many different products, or Buy Baby, which has only baby products? Would they buy online on Amazon because they don't need to see or look at it in person, want to make a quick purchase, or know exactly what to search for? Or are they searching on Google for baby containers or baby bowls, and your product happens to pop up at a popular baby online store like Skip Hop? Take some time to read through your past 4 answers to help you derive this one. For our product here, I would say my consumer would be shopping at Target or Walmart, with some people shopping at Buy Baby, all in person, as we discussed in the audience section. And that is CASAR. Know thy consumer and you will know thy hit list. Know thy hit list and you will solve 50% of the equation, with the other 25% being what title of person you reach out to and with what script. Check out the completed CASAR for the Baby Bites Keeper in the show notes to get a feel for what it will look like at the end and to copy on your own. So now that we have figured out our product's CASAR, what the heck do we do with it? Well, I'm sorry to say, but that will have to wait until our next episode. And if you can't wait, or want a little push to create your CASAR, I'll give you one company to pitch to if you give me your product's CASAR by LinkedIn messaging me. Thanks for tuning in and taking a few bites with me today. And remember, serial inventors don't make excuses. They make it happen. See you soon!